Right?
Yeah, I got a quick read here before we get into some Cleveland Browns quarterback drama. If you haven't heard of them yet, guys, Buckeye State Credit Union is your local institution offering everything from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans with some of the lowest rates in Northeast Ohio. Their Cleveland branch is in Shaker Heights, which is one of 5 locations across the state, making it super easy to find one near you. If you can't get to a branch, no problem. We make banking super simple through digital banking. But what sets us apart? They make banking personal and convenient at Buckeye. Their focus is you. Their core values, connect, simply, adapt, guide everything that they do. They bring people together, cut through the clutter, and are innovative. To learn more, visit buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union. Your money simplified.
Very good. Man, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders. I've talked a lot about this with folks upstairs, but I really haven't been on the panel since we found out that he got not 1, but 2 speeding tickets. The first one, 101, or no, the second one, 101 in a 60. That happened earlier this week in Strongsville. But then we found out after that, folks started digging around, looking at his driving record. He had one 11 days earlier where he was also more than 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. That's where it gets interesting because that's where it raises to the next level of offense at 25 miles an hour over the speeding limit. And he's had 2 of them in the span of 11 days. I've talked to a lot of folks that are rangy on this thing. Some say this is a huge red flag. Some say it's a big deal. Some say chill. Everybody's had a speeding ticket. Where are you guys?
Earl, what do you got?
I was kind of frustrated to see this thing be made out to be more than what it needed to be. He didn't kill anybody. You know, he wasn't drunk. He wasn't high off anything. You know, he complied with the officer. He did everything that typically happens 9 times out of 10 when you get pulled over by the cops. You get your ticket and you go home. I think these narratives and these pictures that's being painted of Shedeur Sanders because he was speeding once or twice, I think is being exaggerated. I think is damn near comical, so to speak. I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially in the city of Cleveland when we have covered players in this city who have done a whole lot worse than just speed on the highway. When I seen this news come out, I didn't tweet about it. I was mentioning a bunch of tweets saying that if it was Dylan Gabriel that I would have kind of had something to say. No, I wouldn't have. Truth of the matter is I've had speeding tickets. I've driven my car at 100 miles an hour before. And on a normal day, about 84, 86 is typically where I drive at on the highway. So how in the hell do I look like getting on social media or on camera saying, you know, you got awful because you were speeding?
But do you think there's a difference? One thing. Is there a difference between 101 and 85?
But here's the thing. I just think it's being overblown. Zach Edey, Memphis Grizzlies, right?
Yep.
News came out yesterday. He is facing a misdemeanor in Indiana, traffic infraction. Guess how fast he was driving? 101 miles per hour in a 55, right? I'm not saying that. Is it a poor lapse in judgment? Yes. Okay, if we've done it before, you can cause serious harm to yourself or other people.
Yeah.
But like I seen somewhere on social media, should the Browns cut Shedeur Sanders because he got a ticket? Colin Cowherd, you know, a guy that was a big supporter. All of a sudden, he looks at Shedeur Sanders differently because he got a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's all it takes is for this dude to get a speeding ticket, and now you're trying to wash your hands with him.
Does it matter that there were 2 in 11 days to you?
To me, no. I guess my only advice, honestly, to Shedeur would be a couple things. I'm from Cleveland. Slow down in the suburbs. These cops in the suburbs, they will pull you off.
He'll learn real quick about
me personally,
Strongsville's going to get you, man.
I would limit my interactions with police as much as I can because the last thing that you want is to catch a bad cop on a bad day and something that's simple turn into something major.
Yeah.
So, like, for that reason and that reason alone,
the body cam? The whole body cam?
Yeah.
Did you guys catch what I caught? And
he clocked somebody else at 92 and let him go.
No, it was the girl that was with him.
Yeah.
It was, so she was traveling with him. And he said, I'm going to cut your girl a break. And I immediately thought, wait a minute.
She go 92 miles per hour.
Why'd she get a break? 92 is 92. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's bigger than 65.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all. And when he said it, I'm like, Damn.
Yeah.
Then he goes, they got a dash cam in my car. I got to write you the ticket. Well, you got the same dash cam for the girl that was doing 92.
Well, here's what was interesting to me, and I thought I heard this interaction. It was really hard to sort of make out what Shedeur was saying.
It was hard,
and
yeah.
you never got a shot of him. I don't
Yeah.
know why we didn't see his face. But what was interesting to me was, and I'll apologize in advance if I'm wrong on this, because I meant to go back and look at it again. When I saw it the first time, I was getting ready for the 5 o'clock show upstairs, and it was a pinch, and I had to just look at it and go. I believe there was a part in the conversation where Shedeur offered, basically, I call them get-out-of-jail-free cards. They're courtesy cards. They're given to you by area jurisdictions. It could be Ohio State Police. It could be sheriff's offices have offered them to me. And you sort of flash it when you get a ticket. And a lot of times they'll say, slow down. I know this because I've had one.
Yeah.
You got to show it first. He showed it later.
The officer said, well, yeah, you should have showed me that earlier. I already wrote the ticket. I can't rip it up now. That was interesting to me. It also made me question immediately, he's got one of those. He brought it up. How many times has he been let out of tickets that we don't know about? Maybe none. Where he showed that card. I know I've been let out of that when I show that card. It became an ethical thing a couple of years ago to have that and to use it, particularly if you're in the media. And so I just said, you know what? Yeah. I don't want to live in that fringe area. I cut mine up. My hands were shaking when I cut it. I like to drive fast. You guys know that. Last thing I'm going to do is come up here and kill someone for that. Yeah. I'll hold some of my fire on the thoughts, but I'm dying to hear what you think about this. Too big of an issue, overblown, big
So
deal?
if the three options are big deal, little deal, no deal, I'm in little deal.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Right? That's how I feel about it.
That's where I am.
Earl talked about the narratives, and yes, I find and I've said this before. And this happens. This is politics and sports right now. It's everybody's in their silo. Nobody listens to the other side. You're either on this team or that team, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we always defend our team, and we never defend the other team, and that's frustrating. And that's what's happened in the Shedeur Sanders situation.
Sure.
He's got his fan base. He's got his haters, and they don't want to hear they don't want to hear that most of us are kind of in the middle, and we might have some opinions this way and some opinions that way, but it's unacceptable, and we're hated by both sides.
Yeah.
So. This is my. I don't care about those narratives. That's not going to affect my judgment at all. So, it's bad judgment by him to do this.
Yes.
I've done it. I've driven over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Around the same speed he was going. It was bad judgment when I did it too.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean my judgment is always bad.
Yeah.
It means in that case I showed bad judgment. In these cases he showed bad judgment. I still drive fast. I don't do 100 anymore. I haven't done 100 in a long time, but when I was his age or a little older, I certainly did it a number of times. Now, especially at night, it probably was not a good idea. I've never driven that fast at night. It's less safe whatever, I'm just saying.
No.
It's less.
I think Earl and I are both laughing because both of us have.
Sure, and I get it. And but we'd have to admit it's less safe to drive that fast at night than during the day.
It's more of a lapse of judgment when you're doing it at night.
Absolutely. So did he show bad judgment here? Definitely. Does that mean that he has bad judgment overall? No, it doesn't mean that. It means in this case he's shown bad judgment. Hopefully he will learn it. Now, we have a clip. Can we play this clip real quick, Anthony? The ESPN Cleveland was at the David Njoku softball game.
Yeah.
And I was almost trending toward this being a no deal instead of a small deal, but this kind of put me back at a small deal. I didn't love the way he answered the question. If we could play that, Anthony.
I know I'll be violent, bro.
He's just a regular kid. Like, what's wrong with you?
I'm just a little boy.
He didn't do nothing wrong. I haven't seen anything wrong.
He's talking about overall in life. I made some wrong choices personally, and I got owned up to him. I made some, not great choices.
He's saying that because he's an accountable person.
I learned
from the real people.
I learned.
He's not. He don't be doing it.
I learned.
I just didn't love the answer.
I
It's
don't
not
either.
that big a deal, but
I haven't seen that before.
yeah, I just didn't love that. It's like, take it a little more seriously. Again, I get it. He's a young man. He's not a kid.
No.
He's, I'm a little kid. No, you're not a kid.
Yeah.
You're an adult. And when we're young adults especially, most of us make some poor decisions along the way. I get it. I understand. I admit it. I've done it. I was once in a supermarket when I was 22 years old, and I bought a pound of ham, and I ate it while I walked through the supermarket. I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for it. I stole a pound of ham from a Wegmans in Brockport. I say 22. I was older than that. I was like 26.
Did you get caught?
No, I did not.
Wow, not
But
so
I,
good, brother.
you know, so we've all
Interesting enough,
done.
the police are here right now.
Yeah,
for
right.
you,
They're
boy.
coming to get me.
the Brockport
I
police
get
are
it, but
here.
like, take it. You know, just don't do it anymore. Just like, let it. Don't give the haters that ammunition.
That was my disappointment, Bull.
Don't give it. Yeah.
That was my reaction. First of all, I'm exactly where you were.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't love that clip, but that's not going to take me from medium deal to a big deal.
No,
this
certainly
is not a big deal.
Yeah, it's not.
But it is a deal.
It's a deal. It's a deal.
And here's why. First of all, he cost. I don't want to say he cost himself, because that's not really fair either. The draft process cost him ballpark $10 million.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not hyperbole.
No.
Where he was slotted, number 2, and what he would have made had he been drafted number 2 compared to what he's being paid now, being drafted 144, is a canyon of money. At least $10 million by most estimates, perhaps more, with depending on how the contract goes. You get the extra year, all kinds of different things. That's your teaching moment. Now, I thought that was overly punitive and unfair to a kid who's not done anything wrong. He's not a problem. He's not societally. He's not a bad guy. In fact, by all accounts, those that I trust that have met him and talked to him tell me, Jay, this is a good kid. He's a good kid. Now, he's a fun-loving kid. And sometimes the adult world looks at fun-loving kids as bad kids. And
maybe
immature kids.
And maybe that's why you and I didn't like that comment a little bit.
Well, it is.
Because we're older.
We're older.
And he's just being silly.
And that's funny because
Well,
I didn't.
You're not offended by it.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't even think it was a big deal at all. I just thought he was just
It's
joking
generational.
around.
Yeah, I think it
it's
is.
generational.
Yeah,
and we're being the get off my lawn old man.
I think you're right.
Now, all that being said, I try to, when I feel like I'm doing that, I try to really self-inspect and say, am I being overly harsh? And no, overly harsh would be, oh my God, this is a huge deal. This is a big disappointment. No, it's not. It's a molehill. Don't try to make this a mountain. My disappointment was greater when I found out that he had one going 25 plus 11 days ago, 11 days prior.
Yeah, right.
So I'll promise you this, because I have somewhat of an idea of how Dion raised his kids. Very strict. You're gonna respect your mama. You're going to respect authority. You're going to do things the right way. There's a way to do things, but we're going to have fun, man. We're a fun-loving family. We're going to do fun things, and people are from the outside are going to misconstrue that. They're going to look at that, and they're going to be like, look at these guys. What are they doing? But all of that being said, the one thing I can assure you that Shedeur has heard from Pops hundreds of times, don't put stain on my name. Don't do it. That's not just your name. That's my name. And when you carry my name outside of this house, and you've heard you talk about this before, your actions stain my name. Don't do that. Don't do that, because this is the hand that feeds you. And it will also be the hand that will cut you off. And I believe that Dion raised his kids with some really tough love. And I think in general, he was a very good father. And I like a lot of his principles. When I've heard him talk about kids and youth and how he treats them and how he raised his kids, I have a lot of respect for that. Very similar to the way I raised my kids. That being said, he just went through a process that cost him $10 million, in large part over a misperception. I don't think that was fair for him. So you would think that he would say, man, I haven't done anything wrong, and look how society is quick to throw darts at me.
Right.
I have to mind my P's and mind my Q's and dot my I's and cross my T's more than everybody else. Is that fair? No. Sometimes life isn't fair. You're Deion Sanders' kid. The spotlight is hot on you.
Yeah. And he's
especially now.
And he's done all of those things at camp.
Yes.
He's done it. He was
model citizen.
He was perfect.
Every interview that he gave, I'm like, that's exactly what I want to hear.
He was working hard. He was saying the right things. He was doing the right things.
Now, will this impact ultimately?
No.
No.
Yeah,
it will have. Someone asked me after word came out of the second one. Someone said, do you think this is going to impact how the Browns look at him on the? No. He made a mistake. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him a kid. Because to me, at 22, 23,
Yeah.
you are still a kid. I look back at myself when I was 23, I had the maturity of a 16-year-old. Some of the decisions that I made, I'm embarrassed about. Embarrassed.
Of course.
But they say
Yeah.
the part of the male brain that does the math on risk reward isn't fully developed until some people 25 or later.
Yeah.
And I know mine was later.
They say for men it's like 30, 35.
Well, they say the last part of the developmental brain for the man is 25, but it can be later. So it can creep into the 30s. Look, he didn't rob a bank.
He wasn't drunk.
He didn't hit a woman.
Yeah.
He wasn't drunk.
Right.
He was recklessly driving.
That's what part of what triggered me when I saw some of like, enormous mistake and, how huge this was, and hopefully he learns this massive lesson from it.
Do you think, though, that the reason that video disturbs me is I don't think he's learned anything.
This is where,
laughing about it.
But see, to me, this is where it takes me back to where I was in management classes, because it teaches you how to communicate, per generation and things like that. And there is a communication gap, don't disrespect, but between guys your age and probably guys my age, something like when I seen that.
Girl.
But I'm just saying, when I seen that video of his response, it didn't even seem like somebody asked him a real question. It just seemed like somebody.
It was a conversation,
It
wasn't
just
it?
seemed
Where
like
they
he
were
was
kind of listening
having a
in.
conversation with one of his homies.
Good point.
And somebody just happened to be
Good point.
listening in.
He wasn't in a formal interview setting, I didn't think.
True.
To something that you said, right? Because I put myself in his shoes. I sped a lot, and it was always, Earl, you need to slow down, Earl, you need to turn that music down. And my father used to always have these conversations. You need to slow down. You can kill yourself. You can kill somebody. You need to turn that music down. And then I noticed some of these conversations will turn into other things that didn't have nothing to do with the actual infraction. And so I get your point. What you're saying is you just hope that
It's the perception.
as a young man, the perception, but you just continue to make better choices. But at 23 years old, it's unfair to think he has it all figured out. He probably feels invincible. Every single body sitting on this panel right now felt invincible at 23. I'm 37 and I still feel invincible. So to me, it's just like I said, for me, it's one of those things. Is it a poor lapse in judgment? Absolutely. Every time I get in my car and I leave here and I put my car at 86 miles an hour on I-90, that's a poor lapse in judgment.
Yeah.
But do I do it 9 times out of 10? Yes, I'm not going to lie. And it's the whole speeding at night thing. It makes it even worse, I guess, to your point, because I got a ticket by Bratnall. I think this was 2018. He got me for 92 and a 60.
Ooh, on 90?
Yeah, on 90.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going into the Bratnall zone, but I'm not slowing down because
And they patrol, too, a lot.
it's late at night, so I'm not thinking a poor lapse in judgment. It's late at night. It ain't that much traffic. The cops ain't out here. They ain't thinking about me.
Right, and they
I'm
got
just
you.
floating, right? And I'm pretty sure, like, it's young people watching the show in the chat. You young, it's late at night. You got the music up, your favorite song. You probably listening to Young Dolph, Big X. He just
Life is good.
cruising.
Life is
Like
good.
going with the flow of traffic, and
Yeah.
you just happen to be the one on the meter gun. That's all.
Yeah, it gets you. One last thing that I want to make, and if you guys want to make a final point, that's fine. I believe, again, not a huge deal. It's not going to affect the trajectory of his career and all of that. I'll repeat a line from an officer who let me off of it. He clocked me at 90. I was living in Tampa, and there's a crosstown expressway. And it basically was a road that you only took when you were leaving downtown and you were going to the suburbs. And it was wide lanes, a lot of traffic, and they were flying. I was coming home from doing an 11 o'clock sportscast, which usually I would go 85, 90. I was the only guy on the road. No one's leaving downtown going to the suburbs.
That fresh pavement.
And you know what? And I had a car that could do it.
Jay said.
And I looked in front of me and I looked behind me, and a lot of times I'm like, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
And there was an underpass, an overpass, bridge where they would hide. And I would always slow down coming up to that, and I would make sure I didn't see lights, because a lot of times your headlights would hit theirs and they would reflect. And then I would slow down even more. And when I say slow down, I mean I would take it from like 90 down to 70. And then once I got through that area, then I could get right back up to 90 again. It was like a 10, 11-mile trip, and I could do it in like 7 minutes. Well, on this particular night, I didn't see any lights because he was back further from where I could see. So I hit the gas again, and I went right back up to 90, and shoom, he pulls out right behind me, gumballs on, I could pull over. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies 20 times. And here's what he said. I've had to cut bodies out of cars that weren't going as fast as you were going. And I know who you are. I know you're getting home from work. I understand all of this. I understand it. There's nobody on the road, all of the mental gymnastics that you do. Mm-hmm. But just think of this, and I have. Just think of this. You lose control. You tumble off the highway, over the guardrail. I don't want to have to go to your wife's house and ring your doorbell at midnight, get her out of bed, and have your kids wake up when she screams after I tell her you didn't make it. And that's bad. And then he said this, and this always stuck with me too. Or another scenario. There are cars on the highway. Someone doesn't see you going that fast and makes an unmarked lane change. Happens all the time.
Right, yeah.
You're going so fast, they don't see you. They swerve right into your path. You hit them. Both cars go off the road. You survive. But this person dies. You're going to jail. Now your life is over, as you know it. Your public career, over. Your freedom, over. I don't know if anyone's ever had that talk with Shedeur Sanders, because it does seem like a harmless, victimless crime. I'm just driving fast. But things happen. Things happen. And it's a fact. You can look it up. Statistically, with each mile an hour you go faster, you increase the likelihood of an accident. And when you get to a certain threshold, it starts multiplying the increasing likelihood of a fatality. No one wants to deal with that. Just slow down.
I'll say this. He needs to slow down. I need to slow down.
We all do.
This probably won't be the last time that happens. I instantly rubbed my arm when you was telling that story. Well, that's my best friend. Only rest in peace tattoo I have on me. Ray Fresh, my friend Ray Sean. He died in a car accident 7 days after we got out of high school, 2006. This was June 13th, 2006. 18 years old. So we just celebrated, or just remembered, 19 years of him being deceased. Wow. So he's been dead longer than he's been alive. And I remember he was speeding, coming down a side street, and something clipped, car flipped over, hit a tree. My boy was 18 years old, and he looked every bit of 65 at his funeral. And so,
Wow.
But the point of me saying that is you would have thought I would have never sped again. But the truth is I'm human. And you still, time go on, you get past from that situation, and you think you cool. So, we just got to be realistic. We can sit here and talk about this all day. It ain't going to be his last speeding ticket.
Probably not.
It ain't going to be the last time that he put a car there. Just be careful.
Yeah.
We having this conversation, and we probably going to all jump out
and
off this show
and
drive fast as soon as we leave here. So
I would just say that I think he's better off having people around him tell him maybe we should calm it down a little bit, rather than saying, if this was Dylan Gabriel, nobody would be saying anything in the media.
I hate that.
That's not helping anybody.
No, it doesn't.
I wouldn't have said nothing about Dylan either.
I would have.
I'm saying, but if people in his ear, if that's the response, they're not going to pick on the white guy who says that. Yeah, that's going to be true for some segment of the criticism base. Well, it's an unfortunate thing, but
what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Forget the color of it. The label you carry in the NFL when you're a rookie is your draft round.
Right, yeah.
That's a flashing sign that's over your head everywhere you go. Fifth round, fifth round, fifth round. Every pick you throw in practice, fifth round. Every touchdown you throw in practice, fifth round. I bring that up because decisions are going to be made. The last thing you want to do is have an off-field mistake be the thing that put the team over the top, that you're the odd man out.
Yeah.
If Dylan Gabriel would have had that, I'd be saying the same thing about Dylan Gabriel. You just gave the Browns a reason to cut you if it's close. Don't do that.
I know for us here, we would say the same things. If it was any other player on the Browns, little deal. Same thing.
That's what I firmly believe that.
Outside of maybe Deontay Johnson, because he's on his last straw. But
Miles. Miles can't speed again.
It's the label that you carry. But you know what? If it was Miles, we'd be like, well, he's Miles Garrett.
Yeah, can't cut him.
What are we going to do? Cut him?
No, you ain't going to cut him. But it'd be a bigger deal.
Punt God. Yeah. What other nickname? Has there ever been a quarterback god? Has there ever been a running back god?
No.
Not that we've dubbed it. This dude's nickname was Punt God.
By the way, you're right. By the way, does anybody think that Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Tom Brady have never driven 100 miles an hour?
Listen, I guarantee you they have.
Of course they have.
I guarantee you
they just haven't gotten
caught. To me, the big thing was 2 in 11 days.
Yeah.
Like now you have to drive the speed limit everywhere you go.
And
because if he gets the third one, it's a big deal.
By the way,
that's a big deal.
I thought this was a good and thoughtful conversation, but I guarantee you, because of the polarization, you and I are going to be looked at as haters for this conversation, even though we said it was a little deal and we're way more lenient. But I know how
I always
people
say,
work.
hate away, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Hate away.
I just think it's funny.
It's just one opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna filter it for
No, it is what it is. We
sake
give
of
honest opinions.
People
If
not
you don't
hating
like it,
my
you don't like
opinion
it. Yeah.
is my opinion. If this was Joe Flacco, what would your reaction be?
Exactly
if you found
the
out Joe Flacco got 2 speeding tickets in 11 days that were both plus 25s?
And you know what? I might even be
I didn't know.
More
more
negative.
disappointed
because he's
You're
40 years old.
bro.
Yeah. It would either be the same or more negative. It certainly wouldn't be less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There was one guy that I didn't want to get 2 speeding tickets over 25 miles an hour in 11 days on this roster.
Hush. Move on.
And you know who that...
All right, hey.